Well, guys, the time's finally here. We knew this day was coming, we just didn't know when. But it's finally here. Eli Manning has officially announced his retirement from the game of football. I gotta tell you this, man. I'm gonna miss Eli Manning. He holds a special place in my heart, because his career was a crazy one. And I gotta say this. We have been truly blessed to watch football in the previous era, because we saw some of the greatest quarterback play we've ever seen in this game. From Brady to Manning to Brees. It was some legendary things. But we also saw some of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen play. From Rodgers to Roethlisberger to Michael Vick. You saw some amazing quarterback play back in the 2000s, back in that previous era. And Eli Manning was definitely in that discussion, man. Now we got this current era where you got guys like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson, and they're taking the league by storm. I can't wait to see what those guys have done. But let's just look back at this previous era, that Brady era, which was mostly dominated by him, but you still had great guys like Manning who challenged him. But yeah, out of all those great quarterbacks we saw in that era, nobody stood out more than Eli Manning when it came to their career. Because on one hand, those legendary postseason run makes him an all-time great, a legend, a future Hall of Famer, no question. But when you look at him in the regular season, he's no better than an average to below average quarterback. It's polar opposites in careers. It's crazy. The fact that Eli Manning's gonna retire with the perfect 500 record, that just defines his career. And that's just funny to me. It just defines his career. But when you look back at those two legendary postseason runs, it's a thing of beauty. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. I mean, this guy took on Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and he beat him. He beat Favre in 07. He beat Rodgers in 11. That is insane. This guy won in Lambeau Field twice. I get with 07, you can make the argument that Brett Favre was on his last legs, and that was pretty much his last time wearing wearing a Packers jersey. But with Rodgers, that was just legendary stuff, man. There's no excuse for that Packers team to lose. Let me give you some context. That Packers team just came off of a Super Bowl win against the Steelers. And in that season, they went 15-1, got into the playoffs, and were expected to get to the Super Bowl. Eli Manning ruined that. He went into Lambeau Field, outplayed Aaron Rodgers, and won the game. That's crazy. Those two legendary postseason runs went all the way up to the Super Bowl, where he faced off with Tom Brady on both occasions. And that's 07 win in Super Bowl 42. Shoot, that was some legendary stuff, man. Now you gotta give some credit. No, you gotta give a lot of credit to that Giants defense, because Michael Strahan and the crew, they bullied Brady in Super Bowl 42. I mean, they just beat him up. They got to this dude. They really got to Brady. He was frustrated in that game. Moss couldn't really go off. He still got his touchdown in the fourth quarter, but he could not go off the way he's been going off in a lot of games. They really got to Brady in that game. It was tough for them. So you got to give a lot of credit to that Giants defense for stopping arguably one of the greatest offenses we've ever seen. Because that was Brady's MVP season. He had 50 touchdowns, man. And then you had Randy Moss with like 23 touchdowns as well. It was a legendary season. And they went 18-0, bro. Think about that. Eli Manning went up against an 18-0 team in the Super Bowl. And he came out victorious. And he was a big part of that, because even though the defense made those stops, Eli came up clutch when they needed him to. Bro, that pass, that entire play to David Tyree, in my opinion, is the greatest play of the decade. The greatest play of the 2000s was Eli Manning to David Tyree. Because we all know Eli Manning, he is not a mobile dude. He is not an athletic quarterback. But for him to get out of that sack, to not only get out of that sack, but keep his feet and throw the ball down the field like that, that was insane. I mean, this is Eli Manning, guys. He should have gone down. But he's kept his feet, stayed alive, threw the ball down the field, and somehow got it to David Tyree, who made a one-handed catch and it held it on his helmet to make sure he had possession. That is some legendary stuff. We will never see something like that again, man. That is absolutely crazy. Now, I know that Burles ended up getting a touchdown that ended up pretty much getting them the win against the Patriots in Super Bowl 42, but man, that play to David Tyree, I feel like that's a play that defines Eli Manning's career. But of course, you can't forget about Super Bowl 46, because even though he didn't have that same type of play, that pass to Manningham, bruh, in my opinion, that pass to Manningham was the best throw of Eli Manning's career. He's never thrown the ball better than that. That was a perfect throw. You couldn't have thrown the ball better. Peyton Manning couldn't have thrown a better ball than that. Tom Brady couldn't have thrown a better ball than that. Aaron Rodgers, whoever you want to bring up, even Dan Marino, nobody could have thrown a better ball than that pass Eli Manning had to Manningham. That was perfect, and that was the greatest pass of his career. And, you know, they still managed to get that other win against Brady. He's 2-0 against Brady in Super Bowls, and that's going to be something that Brady's always going to think about. That man took down Brady and Belichick in the Super Bowl twice. That's legendary. That's what's going to make him a Hall of Famer. But when you look back on his regular season, you're just going to see, in between those two Super Bowl runs, you get between it, playoff disappointment, not making the playoffs, and then afterwards, it's just not making the playoffs, and then playoff disappointment. You know, this guy, even though he's an all-time great in the postseason, he still led the league in interceptions in multiple years. This is Eli Manning's legacy, man. You never know what he could do. That was just the thing. At least when Eli was in the regular season, you didn't know what he was going to do. But when he got to the playoffs, you just had this feeling like he was going to turn it on. And I remember back in 2016, when they first got to the playoffs, and we already knew the Patriots on the other side. I was like, man, the Patriots are always going to go to the Super Bowl. But watch this Giants team. They're about to go into Lambeau Field, and they're going to upset Aaron Rodgers again. And I'm telling you, if you watch the beginning of that game, that first drive for the Giants, I swear, Eli Manning looked like playoff Eli. He was throwing perfect passes. Just because his receivers couldn't catch it doesn't mean he wasn't throwing perfect passes. I sat back and watched that first drive, and I was like, are the Giants about to really upset the Packers? Like, Eli really came out here looking like playoff Eli. I thought it was back in 2011, because he was ready to go. Now, granted, eventually he unraveled because, you know, his players weren't making catches, and eventually Eli's gonna do Eli things. But like, if you saw the beginning of that Giants-Packers wildcard game, you would swear that Eli Manning was about to make the upset happen. It was insane, bro. I'm really gonna miss him. You can just see the excitement. I don't even know how to properly discuss him or talk about him, because whenever I talk about players of old and the great seasons they've had, I always get excited and I always feel like a little kid again. Just, man, I'm really gonna miss Eli Manning. I'm glad I got to see those two postseason runs. I always go back and rewatch both Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46 because I just love him. I love him. I'm really gonna miss him. I'm gonna be serious, man. Even though Peyton was the better quarterback, and he's just, I like Peyton a little bit more than I like Eli. Eli still got a special place in my heart. When Peyton Manning retired, I was like, at least we still got Eli, man. Maybe if he can make one more postseason run. In 2016, I was hoping for it, but it didn't happen. But after that, I was like, yeah, it's time to retire Eli. And now we're finally here. The Manning brothers are gone. We're really in an era where we won't get to see Peyton Manning or Eli Manning play. That's just the situation, man. It's, wow. I mean, as a Raven fan, I'm glad. You know, as a sports fan, we still got good stuff. And as a Raven fan, I have Lamar Jackson. I'll be fine. He's still going to be here for years to come. But, like, as a sports fan, well, we're still fine as a sports fan. Let's be real. After that Super Bowl 46, Eli Manning wasn't really doing much. But, you know, we still got Mahomes. We still got Watson. You know, Josh Allen's coming around. We'll see how that goes. You got Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. I don't know. If Carson Wentz could ever stay healthy and get back to where he was in his MVP season, that's also somebody great. Russell Wilson's still going to be around for quite some time. He's not going anywhere. He's definitely going to be around. You still got a lot of good guys. We want to look in the AFC. Besides Watson, Jackson, and Mahomes, I also said Allen. Maybe you can get Baker something if they can build something in Cleveland. Sam Darnold, you know, after he came off of that injury, he actually had a pretty good run. I don't remember what their record was, but yeah, I think he was he 400? I don't know the record he had when he came back from that injury, quote unquote mono. But like, yeah, it's just, we got a lot of good young quarterbacks in the league right now, and Eli hasn't been relevant since 2016. So it's like, as much as I'm gonna miss the guy, we all knew this had to happen. Oh yeah, and Daniel Jones too. Who knows? Daniel Jones may end up becoming Eli Manning in the postseason. Who knows what's gonna happen? But yeah, Eli, I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna really miss you. You gave me a lot of great moments. I'm really gonna miss you, dog. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I'm out. Peace.